Last time you learned how to read the people around you. This time, we're turning that same blade inward, because there's a version of you that you've spent your entire life running from, hiding, denying even exists. Carl Jung had a name for it, the shadow. And here's the part that should actually scare you. The parts of yourself you refuse to look at don't disappear. They just start running your life from the dark, and you call it bad luck, or your temper, or just how you are. Jung spent years confronting his own unconscious. Colleagues thought he'd lost his mind. What he came back with became one of the most powerful psychological frameworks ever written. 8 lessons about the parts of you that you've been avoiding your whole life. Comment the word shadow right now if you're ready to actually look. Quick disclaimer, same as always, this isn't about becoming darker. It's the opposite. The parts of yourself you refuse to face have all the power right now. Looking at them is how you take it back. Carl Jung wasn't some guru selling positivity. He was a psychiatrist who broke away from Freud, his own mentor, because he refused to agree that the human mind was only about sex and trauma. Then he did something almost nobody in his field dared to do. He turned the microscope on his own unconscious mind for years and wrote down everything he found. Some of it terrified him. All of it became the foundation for how we understand the hidden parts of the human psyche today. Lesson 1. The shadow is not your enemy. Jung wrote it plainly. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it's faced in someone's conscious life, the blacker and denser it becomes. Here's what that means. Every trait you were taught to hide, your anger, your jealousy, your ambition, even your desire for power, didn't vanish when you buried it. It just moved underground, and it's still in there, running things, quietly steering your reactions, your relationships, the fights you keep having for reasons you can't explain. Most people spend their whole life trying to be good by pretending this part of them doesn't exist. That doesn't make you good, it just makes you unaware. And unaware is dangerous, mostly to you. So, if the shadow is already running parts of your life without your permission, how would you even know? There's one way to find out, and you're not going to like it. Lesson 2. What you hate in others is often yours. Think about the last person who genuinely irritated you. Not annoyed, irritated, on a level that felt personal. Jung called this projection. The traits that trigger the strongest reaction in you are very often the traits you've disowned in yourself. The person who can't stand arrogance in others is often terrified of their own hidden ambition. The person who's furious at someone else's selfishness is often someone who was never allowed to put themselves first. Though this isn't always true every single time. But when a reaction feels bigger than the situation deserves, that's the shadow showing you exactly where to look. It's uncomfortable. It's also the fastest shortcut to self-knowledge that exists. Here's where it gets even more uncomfortable though, because the shadow doesn't just hide in your reactions to other people. It's been hiding in the mask you wear every single day. Lesson 3. Your mask is not you. Jung called it the persona. The version of yourself you present to the world, professional, agreeable, put together. The persona isn't the problem. Everyone needs one. The problem is when you forget it's a mask at all. The more perfectly you perform the acceptable version of yourself, the more of you gets pushed into the shadow to make room for the performance. Confident people aren't the ones with no mask. They're the ones who know exactly where the mask ends and they begin. Ask yourself honestly, if nobody was watching and nobody could judge you for it, who would you actually be? That gap between the two answers, that's exactly where your shadow lives. But here's the twist. Nobody tells you your shadow isn't only holding the ugly stuff, it's also holding something you're going to want back. Lesson 4. Repressed power is still power. Most people assume the shadow is only made of shame, anger, cruelty, jealousy, the parts of you that feel dangerous. But Jung was clear. The shadow also holds your gold. The ambition you were told was too much. The talent you buried because it made someone else uncomfortable. The desire for power you learned to disguise as just being humble. You didn't destroy those parts of yourself. you just exiled them. Reclaiming your shadow doesn't only mean facing your worst impulses, it means finally giving yourself permission to want what you actually want. That's not dark. That's just honest. And honest is rare enough that it looks like power from the outside. Now here's the line that should genuinely unsettle you. Jung didn't say the unconscious influences your life. He said, it decides it, unless you do something about it. Lesson 5. Nobody escapes the unconscious. Jung's exact words. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Read that again. The pattern you keep repeating, the relationship that keeps ending the same way, with a different name attached. The opportunity you keep almost reaching and then sabotaging at the last second. That's not bad luck. That's your shadow driving from the back seat, while you insist you're the one holding the wheel. The only way to actually take the wheel back is to turn around and look at what's been driving the whole time. Most people never do. That's exactly why the pattern never breaks. If that line hit a little too close, hit subscribe now. Because lesson 6 is about to explain exactly why trying to be good has been making this worse, not better. Lesson 6. Integration, not elimination. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes once they discover their shadow. They try to destroy it, fix it, pray it away, discipline it into silence. It doesn't work. You cannot delete a part of your own psyche. You can only bury it. And buried things don't stay quiet. They leak out sideways as passive aggression, as self-sabotage, as the explosion that comes out of nowhere after months of being fine. Jung's answer wasn't elimination, it was integration. You don't destroy the shadow, you make peace with the fact that it's yours, and you let it sit at the table instead of pounding on the door from the basement. A whole person isn't a person with no darkness. A whole person is a person who isn't at war with their own darkness anymore. And here's where this gets personal in a way most self-help content won't touch. Lesson 7. Your wounds point to your work. The place you were hurt the most as a kid, shamed, dismissed, made to feel too much or not enough, is usually exactly where your shadow first formed. That wound doesn't have to stay a weakness. Jung's own life became the proof. He called it the wounded healer. The idea that the exact place you were broken can become the source of the deepest understanding you'll ever offer another person. This isn't about romanticizing pain. It's about refusing to let it stay wasted. The thing you survived and never speak about is very often the thing you understand better than anyone else in the room. That's not a coincidence. That's the shape your shadow work is supposed to take. Which brings us to the only real goal behind all of this. Because facing your shadow was never the finish line. Lesson 8. Individuation. Becoming who you actually are. Jung's entire life's work pointed toward one idea. The goal isn't to become good. The goal is to become whole light and shadow, integrated into a single, undivided person. Here's why that matters more than people realize. Someone who has actually faced their own darkness cannot be shamed with it anymore. There's nothing left to expose. No hidden self for anyone to weaponize against you, because you already know exactly who you are, including the parts you used to hide. That's not just psychological health. That is a completely different kind of power. The kind that doesn't come from controlling other people. It comes from finally no longer being at war with yourself. 8 lessons. Pick one. The one that made you the most uncomfortable is probably the one you need the most. Spend the next 7 days actually looking at it instead of looking away. This isn't about becoming darker. It's about becoming whole. And whole people are much harder to break. Comment which lesson hit hardest, or which part of your shadow you already recognized while watching this. I read every single one. If this shifted something for you, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You already know the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. The only question left is whether you're finally ready to turn around and look.